Hello and welcome to part 5 on this series of practical UK survival. Now, in the last episode we looked at shelter, and in this episode we're going to focus on survival first aid kits. And as always, this is aimed at regular folk who enjoy using the outdoor countryside. Now, there's a difference between a survival first aid kit and what I would call a boo-boo kit. And if you've bought a shop-bought first aid kit and you haven't customised it, the chances are you've got a boo-boo kit. Now, when you buy a shop-bought first aid kit, it's typically got things in like plasters, maybe burns gel, an assortment of dressings, and if you're lucky, maybe even a bandage. And when you look at the kind of things those items are designed to deal with, they're typically the less life-threatening issues, things like cuts and scrapes. Now, those are best dealt with immediately, but in an emergency situation, they can wait a couple of hours until you get home or back to the car. A survival first aid kit is designed to deal with the most serious, life-threatening issues that you've got a fair chance of surviving out in the countryside without any specialist medical training. And when it boils down to it, those are things like a major bleed, a loss of mobility, which could lead to hypothermia, or potentially any specific medical conditions you might have, such as having an inhaler if you happen to have asthma. My view is that if your first aid kit is too large, then you're going to be tempted to leave that at home because it's too heavy to carry around. So what I do is I pack a small first aid kit to deal with the big issues, and any kind of minor cuts and scrapes, I can deal with those when I get home. Now, if I'm going out for more than a couple of hours or up to a day or maybe longer, then I will also start to pack some of those less essential items, so things like plasters and antiseptic wipes. But for just a few hours where I'd be tempted to leave that sort of bigger first aid kit at home, then it all goes into that kind of small first aid kit to make sure I can deal with the big issues. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can organise your first aid kit, and one of them is a modular system. So if you take this pouch, for example, this is my everyday carry, and this is what I have all of my trauma management stuff in here. So I've got trauma bandages, I've got crit bandages and wound dressings, and everything I need to deal with a major bleed or a serious situation is in this pouch, and this comes with me on every walk, even if I'm just going out for an hour or two. All the other stuff like the minor cuts and scrapes, they can wait till I get home. Now, if I'm going out for more than a couple of hours, I might want to have things like plasters, antiseptic wipes, maybe painkillers, that kind of stuff. So I'll have a separate boo-boo kit, which I'll just pack as a separate pouch, and then when I'm going all day, I can just throw that into the bag as well, and combined, those two make a complete system. Now, the benefit of this modular system is there's no duplication across the different kits, and therefore it's cheaper to buy and cheaper to maintain, because obviously everything has an expiry date, and if you're managing that properly, it's going to cost you money to replace those and more money if you've got duplicates. Now, another way you could organise your system is just have completely separate pouches. So for example, this is my multi-day first aid kit, and this is designed to go over several days. And the beauty of this is you can tailor it towards a specific number of days, and it is great for that. While these really aren't aimed over a couple of days, it's more a complete day. So this is a good way for tailoring your first aid kit. The disadvantage, of course, is there's duplicates in what equipment I have, so therefore it's going to be more costly to maintain. So I just want to go through some of the main items I carry in my everyday first aid kit. So the first one is bandages, and I tend to prefer crepe bandages because these apply enough pressure that they can be used to stop a major bleed, especially if you've got like a dressing underneath it as well, and also they can be used to give you support should you have a sprain or a strain, so you can continue to kind of walk out if you get injured and self-rescue. So I have 3 of those, and they are a high priority to me because I know when my dog had an injury, it took 3 bandages to stop the bleeding, so always a good idea to have those. I also have a more kind of serious trauma bandage, and this is designed to deal with the most kind of serious bleeds. They are a little bit more expensive, but it's just a really thick absorbent pad with a very high quality pressure bandage, and this can be used to stop the most serious bleeds. So really good bit of kit that's worth having. Now, other items in here I carry for the most serious issues are a tourniquet. Now this is mainly for my dogs because this is designed to go around their legs, and it's elastic rather than a kind of a windlass type. this is a really good idea if you've got dogs. It's not so good for a human because obviously it's harder to get. You get that around an arm, you'd probably struggle to get that around a leg. And obviously once you put a tourniquet on, it's touch and go whether you're going to have that limb or not. You're not necessarily going to lose it, but if it's on for too long, it can cause complications. So the best avoided, only use those when a pressure bandage has failed. The other items I have are a space blanket. You can use that to, again, sort of try and slow down the rate of cooling if you are kind of stranded. That's a good idea to have. And then the rest is things like I've got some gloves. I do have a light which I keep in here, and this is a really good bit of kit to have, because if I need to leave a casualty or I need to leave one of my dogs in the woods and go and get help and it's getting dark, I can just hang this, you know, to them or over the tree where they are to help me find them again in the dark. So a little white light is good, and always have white light in your first aid kit rather than red, because you can see the injuries a bit better with white light and assess what's going on. The other kit in here worth having, there's some eye wash. Not really life-saving, I've got to be honest, but it can be very uncomfortable if you've got something in your eye, so it is worth having one of those in. And the rest of the kit is really kind of non-essential. It's stuff that I've put in there for the dogs that I don't necessarily need, but it's in there because there's room and it's not too heavy that I'd be tempted to leave this from home. Focus on the dressings, the wound dressings, the bandages, the space blanket, and the light. That's the main kit you need. Anything else is a bonus, but it's not essential. It's also worth just going through my boo-boo kit, and I'll point out the things I tend to use most of, because it might give you some ideas and hopefully will avoid you some discomfort. So the first thing is this, which is zinc oxide tape, and this is fantastic if you've got a hot spot, from stopping that from forming into a blister. As soon as you feel that hot spot forming, you tape your feet up with this, and that can very often stop that blister from forming. So really good thing to have, especially on a long distance walk. The other thing I tend to have is, if I do get a blister, are these kind of blister plasters. And I was a little bit skeptical. I thought a regular plaster would be just as good, but I have been proven wrong. A blister plaster is much better, and it is well worth having a pack of these in your boo-boo kit. Now, another thing I tend to use a fair bit is insect bite relief cream. So I've been stung or bitten, or perhaps stung by a nettle, then this is really good for just making that a bit more comfortable and taking that discomfort away. So that's also something I use a fair bit of, and well worth having in your kit. Now, the other stuff I have in here is really just the sort of thing you would expect. I've got plasters, I've got a couple of antiseptic wipes, I also have some medications. Now, the medications I take, I don't have any specific health conditions, so I just take an ibuprofen and a paracetamol. But the one thing I do carry that's extra is Diacalm, because if you happen to have diarrhea when you're outside in the countryside all day, that is not going to be a good day out. So that's definitely worth packing. And one other item I have is an antihistamine as well, and that is mainly actually for the dogs in case they get bitten by something, because they could swell up. So I have 2 antihistamine tablets for the dogs. I could use them as well if I needed to, but it's mainly for that kind of, if we get bitten by an adder and I can't get them to a vet situation. And that is pretty much it. That's all I carry in my boo-boo kit, and that will get me through most days. So I hope that was useful, and in the next episode we're going to look at actions on an emergency situation. So if you don't want to miss that video or any of the others from the series, then think about subscribing, hit the bell icon, and I shall see you there.